Okay, so I went to the range on, today's Tuesday, I went to the range on Friday, and I didn't do a video afterwards, straight after, because I didn't really have that much information to give. Also, on Saturday, I went into the gun store where John the gunsmith works, and because I had him drill and tap and mount scope mounts on the Israeli Mauser, Mauser 98 in 7.62 by 51 NATO. I wanted to get it drilled and tapped because when I shot this with the iron sights, as crap as Mauser iron sights are, and they are inferior to, say, well, all the American rifles, well, World War II rifles and World War I rifles. They all had aperture sights. Also the Lee Enfield number 4, which also had aperture sights, so much superior. These ladder sights, you know, are old technology, and they should have been replaced with aperture sights. They could have quite easily done it. I mean, you know, if you can mount a scope mount on the rear here of the action, you can certainly put a peep sight or an aperture sight, but yeah, Germans never did that. They reckon that people Mauser got everything right, and why change it? Well, they were wrong. They should have got peep sights. I'm sweating like a proverbial because the humidity is just, it's sort of a little bit of rain, but yeah, it must be like 26 degrees and Celsius, and that 99.9% humidity, I reckon. Is just so. I'm having some chai because I like that. So the rifle itself, there are a couple of issues with it. One of the issues, this top guard is loose, and I'm going to spill my chai. The reason it's loose is because when these rifles were first captured by the Russians, so, well, I would say that, well, I don't know about the majority, but a very large proportion of the Mauser rifles that Israel acquired were given to them by Uncle Joe Stalin after World War II. All the captured Mausers, not all, but they gave the Israelis thousands. Of course, it wasn't Israel then. And some people would think, oh, that was nice of the communists, that was nice of the Russians, they love the Jewish people. No, that's not the reason they gave it to them. It was very cynically, they thought, just stirring up trouble. You know, he thought, you know what, I'll give the Jews in Palestine a heap of these rifles. They can stir up the hornet's nest, and then the Arabs will wipe them out. That's pretty much my understanding, is that was the strategy. Well, guess what? Didn't work. So anyway, once these things were captured, what the Russians did was they just stripped them, all the parts. They stripped all the parts. They'd stick all the butt caps in one pile, all the barreled actions in another pile, the what's called the trigger guard assembly in another pile, and the main stock would be another pile, the top guards, or they'd just chuck all the woodwork in another pile. They were just piles of this stuff, and then they'd go through it and see what worked, what didn't work, and just slap them back together. So the numbers on this rifle, nothing matches, nothing, which is not really surprising, because they were just picking up pieces and slapping them together. Anything that was okay, they slapped together. But this is originally a World War I rifle, so it was made during World War I, before World War I think. Yeah, no, during World War I, by Simon and Zon Zeman and Zon or whatever. So they were a Jewish company that got well taken over by the Nazis during World War II. They said, no, you can go away. We'll give it to a good Nazi, which they did. So anyway, so the top guard's loose, and this thing is loose because the top guard doesn't fit it properly. Now what to do? So there's two things that I can do. Is I can actually lengthen it at that end, or glue and laminate a piece onto that end, I think I'll be doing. But it also needs to be thicker there. So that's in the future. So it's definitely not helping. What's the other issue? That's pretty much sort of the issue that I've got with it. How much that's affecting accuracy, I don't know. I don't think it's really affecting it that much. As long as, because I'm death gripping it, and when I'm death gripping it, I'm holding that top guard down and back, and I've sort of figured out a strategy to combat that issue. These scope rings, they're not really the scope rings I want on here, but they work because they're ultra highs. I think they're ultra highs. They work. This isn't really the scope that I want on here, but it's a scope that I've got, and it's a good scope. It's only 14 power, but it's got a very fine reticle, and like I said, it's a good scope. So I'll show you what I did. All right, where's the results? So I had a whole heap of. I didn't actually make any ammo for it, specifically for it. I had a whole heap of the 308 that I made for the Spanish carbine, the that Artec Prima piece of shit Turkish pump action. Yeah, so I'll show you what I got. I'll put that there, and also that. And so I'll start off with I had some, where are they? 130 hot cores. So, and I made these in, oh no, they're only 2 years old. So these are 130 grain spear hot cores using ART208 Varmint, and it was, so I had, I didn't have many left, but I had enough to sight it in because it hadn't been sighted in. So I used 5 shots. I had 15 left. So the other one, the other bunch of 5 must have been 45 grains of Varmint ART208. And then once I sort of sighted in, I was like, yeah. I mean, 130 grain is, you know, it's not. That's not what this barrel was designed for. It's really designed for about the 180 grain mark, you know, projectiles. Then I had, I'll leave that one to last. Then I had, so for the Spanish carbine I had, what did I have? Not that. I had, yeah, shot all them. No, I haven't shot all them. Okay, still got some left. What happened to that one? Yeah, so when I made this ammo, that was in 2021. I don't know what happened with this case, but this case I could not get into the chamber. Yeah, pretty weird, but I've still got about 18. I'll have to pull that one apart. So that was ammo that I made for the Spanish carbine. It's Sierra 150 grain Game Kings using AR2208 Varmint, and it's 28.5 grains. So it's a reduced load for the Spanish carbine because it kicks so badly. So 5 shot groups. So first group is 1.8, second group 1.5, third group 1.6. Realistically, they're respectable groups for a rifle of this age, but when I shot this rifle through the iron sights, man, it was so accurate. Then, so these are, oh, that wasn't the one point. Yeah, that was different ammo. That was the, so which ammo is this? Oh, that must have been the, that would have been 37 grain ammo. This is the Spanish carbine ammo, the very, very reduced load, 28.5 grains. So 3-shot groups. Well, actually, some of them are 5-shot groups. So I shot a 3-shot group there, 1.4, a 3-shot group there, 2.4. Oh shit! Now, and then what I did was, after shooting a heap of ammo through this, I did notice that it did want to go hose once it got really, really fouled up. So what I did between that group and that group is I cleaned the bore, sweating, and it was actually just before a ceasefire, so the barrel had a chance to cool down. So I went, I'm going to shoot a 5-shot group. So that is 5 shots. I don't know if you can see that. That is 5 shots. So I've got 4 shots in 0.2 of an inch, and one over here that pushed it out to 1.1 inch. I mean, that's really, seriously, I mean, I didn't believe it, because when I went up to the target, I went, hang on a minute, I thought I put 5 shots into that target, and I did. So, man, was I spewing when that one went there. And then the last group was 0.94, was 3-shot group 0.94, with 2 touching and 1 there. So, what to do? Because I've got so much 30 caliber ammo, I'm going to start off, like, if I've got 168 grain ammo, I'm going to start off with that. I'm not going to go straight to 180 grain, although I might, I don't know. But this thing, you know, that could be complete fluke. Alright, that could be complete arse, complete fluke, but it's real. That is 5 shots in 0.2 of an inch, 4 shots in 0.2 of an inch, and one over here that pushed it out to 1.1. Unreal. This rifle. And you know, the bore isn't pristine. It is a bit rough, you know, 'cause it's pretty old. But wow, I love this thing. It's amazing. So I'm so happy that I refitted it too. Now it really looks good. Alright, I'll let the pink rabbit take care of this one. Take care of it. Alright. Now we'll go to, so with this rifle, the 300 WSM, my 300 WSM that's got extremely short throat. What happened was that, so that's yeah. Okay, so I did, that stuff was yesterday with that. This stuff was Monday. Okay. So on Friday, I wanted to test this out to 300 metres. So 100 metres, 200 metres, 300 metres. So with a cold bore, first shot at 100 metres, I went right there. And I went, yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm not going to muck around with the scope. Then at 200 metres, holding on, with the reticle, holding on the second graduation down to offset for the bullet drop, I got that, which is 1.8 inches. Happy with that. That one over there was actually a hole from sighting in, whatever. Then I had another target under there, one of these splatter targets. It's at 300 metres, but I held off completely wrong. I needed to compensate more for bullet drop, and it didn't happen. So, you know, yeah, they're right in between the bulls. So hey, there's absolutely no doubt I'm going to kill any big animal that steps in front of that. Now, yesterday, Monday, so I wanted to do it all again. So at 100 metres, 300 WSM at 100 metres, and I'll tell you what the ammo is. Where are you? Yeah. I found another. You know how I trashed all those cases? Well, I found another two that I trashed. I couldn't chamber them. I'm going, why ain't that chambering? Yeah, because I stuffed them. So yeah, I need to get. I don't really need to get more cases, but you know, I'm gonna. Sooner or later, I'm going to get Lapua, you know, 50 or 100 Lapua cases. So the 300 WSM ammo is a 200 grain ELDX, using AR209, hydrogen 4350, 60.5 grains I settled on. I just went, right, that's it, I'm settling on 60.5, I'm not going to muck around. So CCI 250 large rifle primers, the Magnum primers. It's a very short throat, so yeah. An elite crimp, because it is hunting ammo, and if I've got rounds in the magazine, it needs to hold that pill, otherwise it's going to move around if you don't crimp it. As long as everything's crimped, as long as the force that you apply going into the cartridge with the pill is relatively the same, and as long as the crimp is the same, you've got uniformity, and that's consistency. That's the name of the game. It doesn't matter if you give it a light crimp or a heavy crimp or no crimp at all, as long as they're consistent. So anyway, I'll stop prattling on about that. So the first two shots at 100 metres, bang, 0.6. Yeah, I went, yes. That's what I want. That's what I want. And then I'll put that there because I want to save that one. And then I went out to 200 metres. So I did ignore that stuff. So I went right. I overcompensated for bullet drop here, right? But I did not compensate. I thought I'll do a two-shot group with no compensation for wind, because there was wind. It was blustery, but the wind was consistently there most of the time, but it was still blustery, so yeah, it was a bit tricky. And you'd think, oh, come on, 200 grains at 200 metres, that's not going to get moved around. Yeah, it does. The wind moves everything around. So I compensated for the wind, or what I thought was compensation, and I held it in the right spot, and so bang, bullseye. I can't remember which one was first, but I hit bullseye and just there. So that's 2.17 inches at 200 metres. That. Now, so this is how the targets were. Right. So I had a 100 metre target, 200 metre target, 300 metre target. And if I can hold these together successfully, probably not. So what happened was I overcompensated for bullet drop. Where I thought I should hold it was too high. So that was the first two that I shot. Because I couldn't really, at 300 metres you can't see, you know, I didn't have a scope that I could see what was going on with, so I didn't have a spotting scope. So that was the first, I overcompensated. So came back, and then I still overcompensated there at 300 metres, but it's a 1.64 inch group at 300 metres. Hey, that's pretty good. So what I have to do But even still, if I hit a large friggin' animal like a sandbar, which is what I want this for, if that's its heart, center of its heart, then I hit it there. Yeah, either of those shots are gonna lay it down like a sack of potatoes. Sorry. So to get a 1.64 inch group at 300 meters, I'm really happy. But I did overcompensate both times for a bullet drop, which sort of surprised me. Yeah. So what I've got to do is, on the reticle, I've got to figure out where I need to hold it for 300 meters. I know where I need to hold it for 100 meters. I know where I need to hold it for 200 meters, but 300 meters, yeah, it's a bit tricky. So I've just got to do another test shoot. I think it'll probably take me one more test shoot to figure it out. And then I'll be happy to shoot out to 300 meters. Beyond 300 meters, man, that's a long way away. I'm not really comfortable shooting at any animal, even if it is a big animal, you know. Maybe if it had, you know, trophy rack, you know, that you just go, oh, maybe, but probably not. You know, you have to be realistic about the rifle's abilities that you got, your own abilities and what you know about your rifle. So that's my beloved Tikka, which I really do love now. You know, I mean, I've trashed Tikkas. I've talked whack about Tikkas non-stop, ad nauseum, and yeah, they do have their faults. You know, they do have their issues. Not necessarily issues, but quirks. Tikkas do have their quirks, certain things that I don't like. Like, there's no pillars in this thing, so I am going to pillar it. I do like this stock because this is a really light unit, and man, even with this weird ass radial muzzle brake, oh, this thing, you know, you're shooting a Magnum. Like, you know, I shoot the other rifles and then I shoot this and boom, you know, it's like you're shooting a cannon. No joke. So out of the way. So that's the Tikka WSM. Now, my Howa 223 Varmint. I do have one issue with this thing, with this stock, and that is that the recoil lug is not perfectly jammed into the slot that's been machined in there for it. There is a bit of side-to-side movement, but when I tighten this thing down, it doesn't move. But still, it still bugs me. It's in the back of my mind going, is that really good? Is that having an effect? I don't think it is having an effect because I haven't seen it move. You can't move it. You know, you can wriggle it around a little bit, but you can't actually. It's not like, you know, you can't do that to it. So I had these. I wanted to go higher because I used the 69 grain Sierra Match Kings, what I had left, and shot them off. And yeah, sort of so-so results. So where is it? Yeah, I haven't got it here. I've got the box here. But Spear. They're called semi-Spitzer Varmint, but they're really a round nose. They're a round nose soft point. And 70 grains, and I mean the grooves aren't bad, but yeah. So my understanding is, because this is a 1 in 8 twist, 80 grains is optimum. So on Saturday when I went and picked the Mauser up, I went and got a box of Sierra 80 grain Match Kings. Match Kings are my favourite projectiles, you know, they are. Sierra make, and they're not cheap. Sierra projectiles are expensive, probably some of the most expensive, probably the most expensive burgers. I don't even bother. You know what? People say, oh, have you tried burgers? And I say, no. and the reason is just availability. At least with Match Kings, yeah, you might have to source them here, there and everywhere, but you'll be able to get them most of the time. So they're Sierra 80 grain Match King, using Varmint AR2208, Seiko brass, Remington 7.5 bench rest primers, because I did have 1,000. So I like to use bench rest primers if I'm shooting for precision, obviously, with a very, very, very slightly crimp, and that is just to true the neck. Alright, that's not to not to squeeze on the projectile at all. It's just a really, because those that Seiko brass I processed a long time ago. It's just been sitting there, and my preparation techniques, or modus operandi of prepping brass was not as good. I didn't have, because I didn't have comparator tools at that time. I didn't have a proper case trimmer at that time, whereas now I do. So yeah, all this Seiko brass is, well, I've got a shitload of it, because I had, when I originally had the first 223 I ever had was a Seiko stainless super Varmint, and that was sort of not that super. And I know there's a lot of people saying out there, oh, you must have done something wrong. Well, I probably did, but yeah, I couldn't really get it to shoot, even with factory ammo, even with Seiko ammo. You know what? If you've got a Tikka rifle, if you've got a finish rifle, and you're shooting finish ammo out of it, it should do well. Okay? And some people might say, oh, that's pretty sort of moronic logic. Well, it's not. It's not. So, here we go. So 80 grain Sierra Match Kings, so this I shot yesterday. So 22 grains, so this is the first group, 0.54. All three shot groups, because I only had a box, I only bought a box of 50, because man, this stuff is so expensive. I should have grabbed the second box, but there was 2 boxes there only of the 80 grainers. 50, 22 grains, 0.54, 8 with 2 touching. 22.5 grains, 0.38. Yeah. 23 grains, 0.85. It's sort of spread out. 23.5 grains, 0.6. Now, 24 grains. I went out to 1 inch, but 2 are touching. And this might have been wind, might have been me, or both. 24 grains, 1.2, 24.5, 0.94, sort of a triangular group, 24.5, 0.4, then 25 grains, 0.52, 25 grains, 0.92. What do you do? I mean, 24.5 grains, I've got 0.4. But that second group, 22.5 grains, 0.38. 0.38. Now, I think the reason why some of these groups did get a little bit bigger than I would have liked is because of the fouling. I have noticed that this thing likes a clean barrel, which is good. That's good. So I think I'm going to go with 22.5 grains. And see if I can, or what I might do is go between 22 and, I don't know, might go between 22 and 23, just in 0.1 grain increments, and see if that actually means anything, or shows me anything that is useful, but yeah, 80 grain Match Kings, that's the way to go. So that guy on that forum that said 80 grains, if you shoot paper, you use 80 grains. I don't see why you wouldn't use 80 grains pills full stop. Because he said, oh, if you're shooting varmints, use 55 grains, and if you're shooting paper, use 80 grains. This was just written on some forum, and I'm like, why? if 80 grains is more accurate than 55 grains, why would you use 55 grains? Yeah, all right, you're going to get a higher velocity and a flatter trajectory, but how far out are you shooting varmints with a 223? Realistically, you know, if you want to shoot really long distance with varmints, you'd be shooting a 22 250, 220 Swift. You know, even this 22 Creedmoor is supposed to be like, yeah, like the hand of God when it smacks an animal. So I'm really happy to have, you know, groups that are, you know, almost quarter of an inch, third of an inch. That tells me that this rifle is certainly capable, and it's got a ridiculously long throat. I am not kidding you. I could have that pill just slightly sitting in the neck and it'd still fit in this throat. It's a really, really, really long throat. That's actually the sort of throat I want for the 300 Wisdom Tikka, though. I don't, you know what? If I can get, so what was that group? If I can get cold barrel, 100 metres, 0.6, 8, and then at 200 metres, to get 1.56 or 2.17, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. So that's what I have to report. So when will I be shooting next? I'm not sure. I've got to go through my gun cabinets and just pull all the rifles out and clean them, because I have noticed that I'm getting some mould on some of the stocks and rust on some of the metalwork on the rifles that I haven't touched for a long time, and I don't like to see that at all. Even though I have dehumidifiers in the safes, it still happens, you know. Even though I, you know, slather them in oil usually, now and then I might forget to just handle it by the stock, and you know, you grab it by the barrel and sure enough you'll see rust spots at the top of the barrel where, you know, I've held it and put it down. But again, really, really happy with this thing. This is amazing old rifle, really, really accurate. I know some people might cringe at, you know, if you've got a good old, you know, Mauser, you know, don't get it drilled and tapped, blah 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 blah. But you got to remember, that thing was, you know, it was originally a World War I Gewehr 98, the long rifle, and then when World War II came along, they chopped it down and made it into a Kar 98, and then when the Russians captured it, they totally scattered all the parts and none of the numbers match, and then the Israelis rebarreled it when they got the FNFAL into service, the same as our L1A1 self-loading rifle. When they got into service, they went, we're going to standardise everything in 7.62 NATO, and they rebarreled all of them and shoved them into storage. So that's why the barrels on these things are so good, because they probably, as far as being a 308 calibered rifle, they would have not seen any combat at all. The original 7.92 Mauser, 7192 by 57 Mauser, yeah, they would have seen combat, but once they got rebarreled to 7.62 NATO, they never saw any action. I don't think, not that I'm aware of. So correct me if I'm wrong. So what have I got to say? Oh yeah, so this scope, the Burris, I originally had that on the Tikka, but I've got to tell you, it just looks so weird, and it's so much bigger. It's so much bigger than this scope, you know, the Leopold VX Freedom 4-12. This is a scope that I originally wanted on here, but I didn't have the mounts, so I had to order them, got them in, and once I got them in, I put this scope on here because, yeah, it's more realistic and more suitable for that rifle than this big chunky thing, which, yeah, it's what I got. So, you know, I've got a shitload of scopes, so I'm not going to have a scope on every rifle, even if I don't go near it for a long time. So anyway, that's all I got to report. What else can I report on? Man, this flu, I still haven't fully recovered. I'm still congested. I'm certainly a lot better, but how long has it been? A couple of months now. No joke. It's just, and I haven't been working, so I'm pretty much broke. Yeah, I haven't been working. I've just, cause I can't explain it, you know. It's just, yeah, it's just shit. But oh yeah, the finish that I put on the Mauser, the metalwork. I'll tell you what it is. And some people might be disgusted, but I'll tell you what it is. It is ATN heat resistant paint. Thermostability resistant to high temperatures of up to 690 degrees Celsius. So, all the metalwork I painted with this stuff. Now, people might say, oh, you know, how's that going to last? You know, how good is that? Well, this stuff is really tough. Let me tell you, it is really tough. And the secret to achieving a paint job that will last is preparation. Preparation is everything. Doing the spray painting, that's the easiest part. Like really, it is the easiest. But spraying the parts is the easiest part. The hardest part is preparing the parts properly. So all of the bits, except the barreled action, all of the bits I took off and I had in an acidic solution. So it's actually cleaning vinegar, cleaning grade vinegar, but it's a higher acidity level. So it takes off everything, and it did. You leave that overnight or 2 days. I think I left it for 2 days, all the bits, and that took everything off because most of the bluing was worn off. You know, it wasn't very good. So, because back when I was in the army, all we did was just spray the rifles with, every now and then, I don't know, I think I remember doing it once or twice. We just spray them with just the cheapest, shittiest El Cheapo paint, black spray paint, you know, that was available, that they used to get us. Whereas this stuff is the real thing. It's professional stuff. It's designed to withstand high heat. And not that I'm going to be getting that barrel to 690 degrees Celsius, but you know, it needs to withstand heat. So that stuff is really, really tough. This is what I think I actually bought this to spray a muffler when I modded a muffler on a chainsaw. And then I thought, you know what, that stuff's really tough. It really lasts. And rather than getting it phosphated, because if you get it parkerized, phosphated, blued, whatever, that isn't rust resistant. It's not. And especially here in the humidity of this place, and you can see how much I'm sweating because of the humidity, you need something that's really tough and is going to last. And this stuff is excellent. So if you're thinking of spraying your rifle black, I don't know, I don't think you can get other colours of this, I'm not sure. I'd have to have a look. So this is made in the United States, I'm assuming, like Montana colours. Where is it made? It is made in Barcelona. There you go, Spain. There you go. So yeah, I just painted the whole thing with that stuff, and it's tough. It's good stuff. So what else have I got to? Oh yeah, I just want to have a, even though it's chai, a celebratory drink. Oh. Congratulations to David Crisafulli for winning the Queensland election. Landslide, like it was a rout. It's a landslide. Even though the media isn't portraying it that way, they're trying. All the Labor people and all the media, you know, the mainstream media are downplaying just how much of a win that was. Because let me tell you, after 12 years, holding the governments, who were this state, yeah, it was going down the tubes, like really, it's in serious debt. And now they want to have the Olympics in Brisbane. A bad idea. We're going to be paying for it. us people here out in the sticks, we're going to be paying for it, so that the Brisbaneites can have their bit of Olympic fun. Fucking assholes. All right. Anyway, that's all I have to report. Yeah, go LNP. Won the election. Kicked those monkey-butted idiots out. And Stephen Miles, I mean, he couldn't even, a really, really shit speech that he did when he sort of conceded defeat. Yeah, what a piece of shit. One more thing. Yeah, anyway, all right. I just want to do a review of, where is it? This thing. So it's a thermal monocular by ATN. It's an OTS XLT thermal monocular, and when did I buy it? I bought it so 8th of 2022, so 10th, so it's just over 2 years old, now. So I hadn't mucked around with it at all much until after I first got it. I did a little try out with it, and then the other day I picked it up, and guess what? After charging it, it's got an internal battery. It's dead. So it's just over 2 years old. And guess how much warranty you get? You get 2 years warranty. Yup. You get 2 years warranty. So you get a 2 year warranty, and just after 2 years it dies. So if you're thinking of buying a thermal device, whether it be a monocular or the thermal scope, any of that stuff. So I've essentially got a, how much did it cost? It cost me $748 2 years ago. So I've got a $750 paperweight. Thank you, ATN. Good stuff. So take from that what you will. So that was the first ATN product that I purchased. It's also the last. I'm never ever going to buy ATN again, because quite obviously they make an inferior product. And if you want to sue me, go right ahead. There's the proof. Alright, 2 years, just after 2 years, and it dies. So yeah, like I said, the first ATN product and the last. I'm going to do what I should have done in the first place, and that is save my money and buy a Pulsar, a Hick Micro, Infrared, one of those brands, not ATN. Okay, so see you later.